Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. So following up from yesterday's video, we're going to be focusing in on this little bit down the bottom end here. Now we were talking about a couple of possibilities. Now I want to go over the bearish one first and then the potential for the bullish one. Now within this, what we were talking about is that we were looking for the potential that we were just going to be getting a corrective move to the upside. Now we were saying that this B wave could potentially be incomplete. And what we were looking for was the potential to come back down here towards the 786 and this 854 level. And we did come down towards these levels. We're saying we had to obviously be careful of this 1-to-1 as a potential target. But this area here, we were saying there was an interesting little zone. Now we have actually started to move back to the upside here. So if this is a corrective move here, what I would be looking for is effectively the potential that this is either A, B, and then we're going to get a 5-wave move to the upside here, in which case our 1-to-1 is actually going to be up here towards this 29,866. So this 1-to-1 target will be the same for both these potential options here, except within this one, what we'd be actually anticipating is a 5-wave move directly up here. And then the other one would be looking for a 3-wave move. So if we get 5 waves developing to the upside here and we fail to break back above this high here, like we said in yesterday's video, we need to be cautious of those potentials that we could still see further downside coming in, where either this is 1, 2, and then we look to break down for a wave 3, which would be looking for currently this area here of this 27,448 to confirm it, or alternatively an A, a B, and a C, in which case what we could be looking for is a move down towards this 28,314 to this 27,980 level. So until we actually break these highs here, we need to be careful of this idea of extension to the downside. If you didn't watch yesterday's video, we went into a lot of detail on this. Now, effectively, what we are talking about is this as a 5-wave move potentially to the upside. Now we could also get this as a 3-wave move up here, so we need to be on the lookout for this. So at the moment I'm still looking at it as potentially a 5-wave move, but if we start to break down from this area, what I'll be looking for is the potential to find support here in this 29,280 to this 29,138 level, looking for this as an A, a B, and a C to the upside. Now this could potentially look to push us up towards this 1-to-1 here, which it would actually be lower than the target that we just discussed. And what I'd then be looking for would be the potential that we could see price come up here towards this 854 to the 786. This would also align quite nicely with coming back into this high of this Y wave here and also into these lows. So going to be keeping an eye on this level. If we do see 3 waves back to the downside and then another 3 waves to the upside here, potentially we could see something like this play out where we get an ABC pattern to the upside, and that could technically be complete. But because of the time duration here, if we do get something like this as ABC, we need to just be aware that there is still potential we could get another 3-wave move down and then a 5-wave move to the upside, particularly if this is going to become W, X, and Y. If this is going to become a 5-wave move, what I would be anticipating here is something more along these lines, where what we would be looking for in the shorter term here is the idea that this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, this is valid for as long as we actually hold this 29,339 to this 29,439 area. For as long as we hold this 50% and we don't cross this 29,274, what we could still do here is look for this 5th wave to the upside. But what I would want to see here is I'd want to see this turn around fairly soon, because at the moment all we have is 3 waves up, and because all we have is 3 waves up, we need to just bear in mind, even though we have hit that target, we could just see price look to come back down in 3 waves. So until we actually form this 4th and this 5th wave, we could potentially still look to break down to that support area, and this just becomes a bigger A, B, C pattern to the upside. So that's what I'm looking out for. There is also potential here that, this could become 1, 2. We get another 1, 2 here, and then we see price look to push to the upside in a bigger way. But effectively, that would be invalidated by crossing this low. So if we do see price come back down here in 3 waves, we could potentially still look for that continuation to the upside. If we do see 5 waves to the downside, we need to be very careful then, because we could be starting the next leg down within this count. So within these two counts, effectively what we're looking for is that potential of this being A, B, and then C to the downside. If we start to get the more bullish case play out, which like I said in yesterday's video is less confidence, we were saying that we could be looking at this as a potential wave 1 as an expanding diagonal, looking for this as W, X, and Y. If we do continue to hold this low, it is possible we could start to develop 1 2 1 2, and then we start to see 3 4 5 4 5, or alternatively we get this as 1 2 3 4 5, then we get 3 waves down. Now the important thing here is going to be holding this 29,033. If we start to cross down below this level again, then the probability becomes that we are actually going to see some downside come in here, where we're going to see price continue to push to the downside and look to actually fulfill one of those other two options that we discussed in yesterday's video, where we are looking for either the potential that we could see this actually come back down here one more time, where this becomes A, B, and then C, and we see price push towards the downside here. 28,234 will be that 1-to-1 target off of the 0.618 up here. So actually that's off our current high that we have. So if we do see price break to the downside, we could then potentially see this target come in. Now invalidation of this would be coming back above these highs. So this is going to be the important thing here. As long as we remain below these highs here, we do have potential that we could see this downside idea play to the upside, either in that way, or alternatively looking for that more bearish idea where we could see this as a 1 and a 2. Now the thing within this is this wave is starting to get quite large now in comparison to this move to the downside. It's still okay at the moment, but if we did have to see something like this and then we see a 3-wave move down and then another push up, it would start to be very unlikely that this is actually the case here, and we're looking for this break to the downside. And rather than, it would be more likely that we are looking at one of the other counts here, where we could actually see this develop in this way, rather, where we say that this whole move down is actually already a completed W, X, and a Y. And then we could start to see a 3-wave structure to the upside developing here, where we see this move becoming a wave, we get a B wave up, and then we get a C wave down, or alternatively, this all becomes a W wave. We get this as an X and then a Y. Now, I don't like this as a W here because of the fact that it's already a W, X, and a Y. Typically speaking, these are just going to be simple structures. So what I would be on the lookout for would be something like a flat correction playing out here, where this is A, B, and then we get a 5-wave move down. But we'll have to just monitor the actual structure here and see how this plays out, because if this move does start from this area here, this could technically be A, B, and then a C wave to the downside. So we need to be just aware there's many ways of counting this at the moment. From this high, it is still possible we could get 3 waves up and then 3 waves to the downside. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this idea that, you know, we could still see some upside come in here just in a corrective manner into this zone of this 30,821 to this 29,993 level, and then see that continuation down. Even if we see a bigger 3-wave move to the upside here into this 32,473 to this 31,433 level, this could still align with that idea of this being a bigger A, B, and a C. So we need to be cautious of this idea that, you know, if we just continue to push up in corrective structure here and fail to actually form that impulsive structure, we could just see this develop into a bigger corrective move. Now, we also haven't written off this idea that we could see a C wave to the upside, looking to push back above these highs here, potentially if it's going to be an expanding flat, in which case what we'd be saying is that, you know, this is our yellow B wave low here, and we're looking for that 5-wave structure. Though we need to see the actual count starting to play out, because what we want to see is a move above 30,455. Now, I'm just going to actually double check this, because this could potentially move slightly. So it has moved a little bit. 30,392 is going to be that target area that we would be looking for here. And what we'd want to see is effectively this develop as 5 waves here, 3 waves down, and then we'd want to see something like this play out, and then that would become potentially our 1, 2, 3. We'd look for a 4th, and then we'd be looking for that 5th wave up. But until we actually start to break these highs, we just need to be careful that you know, that bearish continuation is potentially more likely, just based off of the fact that this is an expanding diagonal. It is less likely that this is going to be playing out already because it's expanding. It's not very common They can happen, so we need to be on the lookout for it, but we need to wait for the confirmation, and that would be pushing up back above these highs, getting an additional fourth, and then getting that fifth wave to the upside. Now, if we did get this fifth wave up in this way that I've got it marked out here exactly, what we'd be looking for would be this 30,521. If we are looking at this as 1212 though, what we want to see is price starting to break to the upside in a much more impulsive way here. And we want to protect these lows. If we get one more 5-wave move up and then we come back down, we will need to see how we react. Because like I said, you know, this could be A, B, and then we get C, and then we could still look to break to the downside. So that's going to be key within these ideas, is whether we do continue to hold these lows and continue to push up here, or whether the structure starts to fall apart and then we just get that continuation to the downside. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we actually printed a lower line here, which is giving us a initial bearish bias for today. However, prices actually moved back above these levels, and we've had an interaction with this R1 line and the previous daily high. If we do see price come back down here, I'm going to be interested to see whether we find support between this 29,256 to this 29,237 as potential support. If we do see support come in here, potentially that could align with the idea of seeing some kind of an extension here. If, however, we start to lose these zones, we could actually see price be gravitated towards this 29,062 and the previous daily low. Now, if we do see price start to break down in a bigger way, other targets for today is this 28,834. We have this 28,640 and this 28,416 as possible downside targets. If we, however, remain above our central lines here, we do have the potential to see price get pushed to the upside towards some of these other levels. We have this area here of this 29,667. We have this 29,896 and this 30,084 level. So that would be quite an interesting zone to keep an eye on if we do see that price push to the upside. That would align with the idea of this just being a potential corrective move, but we could also look to hit these targets if this is going to turn into some kind of an impulse here. So need to be on the lookout for that idea. Now, looking at the weekly pivots, we've got a new set of weekly pivots here. We can see that these have actually printed below the previous weekly pivot. So this is giving us an initial bearish bias here. What we need to see, however, is how price reacts to this zone. So we're currently still consolidating within these central lines, which are sitting between this 29,480 to this 29,348. If we do start to break to the downside, what we could see is price could be gravitated during this week towards this 28,727. We have this level here of this 28,172 and this level of this 27,486. If, however, we do manage to reclaim these, what we could see is price could actually come back up here to test this R1 line here at this 29,963. If we do manage to push through those levels, other targets for this week will be this 30,653 and this 31,208 level. If we do look at the monthly now, what we can see is that we still have the potential to find resistance up here towards these highs again. So this is going to be quite an interesting level towards this 29,685. So if we do see price push up here one more time, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this, this could align with the idea of this just being a corrective move. And then at that point, either we break down and break these lows, or alternatively, we come back down in 3 waves and then look to form that bigger corrective structure to the upside. So that's what I'm mainly looking for here. I want to see how we react after this move completes. If this is an impulse, what we want to see is nice strong volume come in and see price looking to push to the upside, taking out these highs. Until we take these highs out, we need to be very careful though, because we could just see, you know, this start to fall away. So that's going to be what we're looking for that impulsive move to the upside. Now, if we do look to move back down for this month, we do potentially still have support here at this 28,900 and this area here of this 28,117. If we start to break down below those levels, targets would be this 26,361. And we do have an upside target for this month still towards this 33K. Now, there isn't a lot of time left for this month, so like I said in one of the previous videos, it's possible we could just actually spend time consolidating in here, not really doing lots. So we'll have to just see exactly what the price action shows us, but we will be getting some new lines printed as of tomorrow, so we'll have to keep an eye on them and see what they are showing us. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.